The iconic hotel at the bottom of Fountain Street in Cambridge was built in the late 1870s for Robert Walder under the name Delmont Hotel. The Delmont was one of several hotels in the small community of Preston, and the last one standing from that era. The hotel featured 5 acres of property with beautiful gardens and had mineral baths in the basement that ran from naturally occurring sulfur springs in the ground. In 1903, Walder sold the successful Delmont Hotel. This is when it switched names to Preston Springs. But the new owner didn't have the same amount of success, and the hotel was vacated and put back on the market in the late 1910s. In 1921, the now derelict hotel was sold to a pair of local doctors with the financial backing of local businessman A.R. Kaufman. The building underwent a major expansion and renovation with focus on the sulfur springs running through the basement. Converting the hotel into a health spa, Kaufman heavily promoted these new and improved facilities. The addition of an X-ray machine, surgical hall, and treatment rooms bolstered the new focus. High sulfur content was believed to cleanse the body and was used as a treatment method for arthritis, among other things. The hotel would attract big names at the time, including Babe Ruth and Lucy Maud Montgomery. Along with the upgrades, the building also received a new name, Preston Springs Hotel and Sanatorium. By the beginning of the 1940s, the hotel was once again struggling to sustain itself, and with the outbreak of World War II, a deal was brokered with the Royal Canadian Navy to take over the building. During the conversion, the hotel was stripped of many of its luxurious fittings, and it became housing for the nearby Women's Navy Training Facility. The HMCS Conestoga, the first female-commanded Canadian Navy ship, was docked in nearby Galt. The building was later used for barracks for factory workers and other industry workers in the area. In the 1970s, the building was sold to Alan Hodge, who converted it into a retirement home. It became known as the Preston Springs Gardens Retirement Home. The facility ran for almost 20 years until its catastrophic ending in 1990, when the owner seemingly abandoned the facility and the building went into receivership. During the receivership period, the building was still home to 30-plus residents, and staff were reported to have taken it upon themselves to bring food to the residents and brought fuel to heat the building for almost 2 weeks. The owners had entirely abandoned them without warning. Stories of catering companies coming to reclaim their products after not receiving payment, leaving the kitchen empty, were unable to be verified personally, but have been posted online. After the provincial government was notified of the issue, the retirement home was shut down by the city, citing health and safety code violations. In 1992, the building was given heritage designation under the Ontario Heritage Act. This would unfortunately end up being more of a barrier than anything else, as what could have been done with the building was now heavily restricted. The building would sit vacant for almost a decade, with City Council often wondering how to bring life back into it. The city worked in partnership with the previous owner to restore the building in 1999, using $66,000 from the city's Heritage Reserve Fund, adding the red metal roof to prevent any further deterioration of the interior. They also repaired the stucco exterior, but the project was abruptly halted once unexpected costs began to stack up. The hotel was placed back on the market and passed hands several times over the next decade, with minor renovations taking place here and there, until 2006, when the building was stripped to the studs, leaving it just a shell of its former self. By 2012, the hotel was purchased by Hosstown Holdings from Guelph Financial Inc. for approximately $1 million. They also purchased the adjacent property and demolished what was there, combining both properties into one. The lot was put back on the market in 2015, asking more than $2 million this time. With no buyers coming forth, Hosstown committed to developing the property themselves, as they claimed in an interview with The Record. They later admitted to having too much on their plate, excusing away the lack of action on the site. The property continued to decline, becoming victim to vandalism. Windows were broken, and graffiti on the interior could be seen from the street. The hotel became a prime tourist attraction once again, but for a less legal crowd. The building was often left unsecured, allowing access for urban explorers, ghost hunters, drug addicts, homeless, etc. The police received almost weekly calls to the building, prompting the city to take it upon themselves to put up boards across the veranda in 2018. By 2019, City Council told Hosstown Holdings they needed to get a structural engineer report done on the building. 2 separate entities completed structural assessments on the building, and the results were much worse than expected. The building was deemed to be structurally compromised, with the caveat that even if the required renovations were done, they might not be enough to make the building safe again. City Council came to the conclusion that the building's time had run out, and an order of intent to demolish was issued. The building will have its heritage status stripped. It may not even qualify anymore, as the deterioration of its heritage assets may be too far gone, and it will be demolished in the coming years. Despite City Council claiming for decades they wanted the building saved, countless interviews and meetings, some as recently as 2018, stating it would be salvaged, the possibility of the Preston Springs being restored has run dry.